flowers won't matter, she called after him as Cooper crossed the street. Easier said than done. He wasn't sure how he felt. He did, however, have a pretty good idea how Park was going to feel after this. Cooper checked his phone with a curse. Park was supposed to meet him here with the search warrant while Cooper made sure Donnie Simpson stayed put. Only now, Donnie was closing shop 45 minutes early and Park wasn't back yet. "Don't go in without me," Park had said before they'd separated. "Then how am I supposed to intimidate and threaten innocent wolves into confessing while you're not looking?" Cooper had replied. "I'm joking." He'd put his hands up at Park's grimace. If by joking he meant repeating verbatim the things his BSI colleagues said snidely about him behind his back, and to his face. Park's sense of humor was apparently too refined for that. "I just don't appreciate my partner confronting a dangerous suspect on his own, so wait for me outside, okay? I can take care of myself. I was doing this job just fine before you. You should trust me." None of that is true. Not now. But they didn't talk about that either. Fine, understood. Park had hesitated, looking uncharacteristically unsure, and began to say something else, but Cooper cut him off, gently grabbing his arm and rubbing his thumb over the crook of Park's elbow, his sensitive spot. "I won't go in without you, Ollie," he added playfully, using Park's childhood nickname. Park had snapped his mouth closed and blushed. Still, his expression was troubled, disbelieving, but thankfully he hadn't pushed it. And now? Cooper walked into the flower shop and a cluster of bells announced his arrival unnecessarily as Simpson was standing right at the front window display, unplugging the neon open sign. "Hi there," Cooper said brightly, and continued into the store without pause, scanning the bouquets. Park didn't want him confronting a dangerous suspect. Fine. Cooper didn't relish the idea either. He just needed to stop Simpson from closing in order to buy Park some time. What kind of small business owner would kick out a potential paying customer? He perused the store and made his way toward the back, letting himself imagine just for a moment that he really was here buying his boyfriend some just-because flowers. What would he get Park? No. What would he get Oliver? Ollie? He smiled slowly, remembering the night they'd spent together watching movies at his place right before getting called out to Michigan for this case. "Fetch me that flower, the herb I showed thee once. The juice of it on sleeping eyelids laid will make man or woman madly dote upon the next live creature that it sees." Cooper had frowned at the TV, trying to follow the loopy language. So basically he's telling that naked kid to go get him a roofie? Park had punched him lightly and readjusted on the couch so that his head was in Cooper's lap facing the TV. "It's not a roofie. It's Cupid's flower. Love in idleness." "A flower that drugs you into thinking you're in love? Uh-huh, right. So are there Athenian police in this forest or what?" "Shh. You're going to miss the best part." Cooper had shut up and run his fingers absently through Park's hair, too relaxed to make another teasing comment. Usually a fairly hardcore movie fan, or obsessed according to a certain wolf, that night he couldn't stop his attention from drifting away from the screen to watching Park instead, who was mouthing the occasional line along with the actors. He wondered if Park ever missed being a professor and teaching lit classes. He was always bringing over books for Cooper to read and wanting to talk about them. Cooper hadn't really been much of an English student, but watching Park explain them excitedly afterward, and then having him listen so intently when Cooper ventured his own tentative opinion, had recently given him a new appreciation for the subject. When Park had shown up with a literal tome of Shakespeare's plays, though, Cooper had drawn the line and suggested a compromise. Park could pick a film adaptation of a Shakespeare play as long as he then sat through a real classic movie of Cooper's choosing. Cooper had to admit some of them weren't too bad. Unfortunately, the most interesting part of this 1930s A Midsummer's Night Dream so far was a totally wild full-body sparkle suit. "King of the Fairies is right," Cooper had crowed. That got him another punch, but it was weak and shaking with laughter. When the credits had finally rolled, though, Cooper was troubled. He tucked Park's hair behind his ear, thinking, if you knew the person you loved had fallen in love with you because of some psychedelic magic herb, he asked hesitantly. Cupids? Yeah.